The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are, and welcome to the Elenos Group World Broadcast webinar on AudioVault updates and innovation. I'm Chuck Kelly, I'm your host, and I'm delighted to be with you today. And with me is my very, very special guest, Mr. Bob Demuth, who is with business development on the studio systems side. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks, Chuck.
Bob, you've got a long history in this business, almost as long as mine, I imagine. Tell us what you've done.
Well, I started in the mid-'70s at a college radio station outside of Boston. Worked in audio and video systems, an audio and video systems house in Boston. Started as a radio engineer at WBCN in Boston. I had a stint in live music broadcasting and running a mobile recording truck. Moved off to Westwood One Radio Networks in Los Angeles in radio network management. Spent 17 years as in varied titles, ending up as Chief Technology Officer of Beasley Broadcast Group. And for the last 10 years have been in international sales at BE.
Excellent. Well, I'm so glad you're with us today. I can't think of anybody that can explain what's been going on with AudioVault more than you, because you used it as a consumer, as a radio station on the radio station side before you came into broadcast electronics and became pretty much our in-house expert on AudioVault.
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, I chose AudioVault in 1994 as the playout system for Beasley Broadcast Group, and never regretted it. And really, it's my involvement in AudioVault and with BE as a customer that has brought sort of full circle now to my position at BE.
Excellent.
Well, at the Elenos Group, actually.
We've got an awful lot we're going to try to talk about today. We're going to do our $1 million question. We're going to talk about the new AudioVault. We're going to talk about its flexibility, its reliability, its expandability, how it works with satellite automation, how it can compress time or expand time, integration with other systems, flex web, cloud capability, advanced enterprise automation. We're even going to go hands-on with a little bit of the flex web, and then we're going to take your questions. Bear in mind that up in the upper right-hand corner of the app for GoToWebinar is the ability for all the attendees to ask questions. You can ask questions at any time during the webinar. Just type them on in, and at the end of the webinar, Bob and I will do our very best to answer all your questions. Do remember that watching this webinar qualifies you for a half a credit point toward SBE certification under Category 1. For SBE recertification, I should say. So the $1 million question. Bob, I have heard it said that we just got the largest order for AudioVault in the history of the company. Tell me about it.
That's correct, Chuck. We're really fortunate and excited to be chosen to provide an enterprise radio automation system to one of the largest broadcasters in the world. Our customer offers dozens of programs worldwide through a variety of delivery methods. They wanted a new type of system that would provide their enterprise with a unified workflow so that they could do anything from any place. They could schedule one program from the city that it's in, from another city, from their centralized broadcast center. They wanted cloud storage capabilities so that they could share files seamlessly throughout their enterprise to their stakeholders. They also consider, this a mission critical delivery system, which is something that, AudioVault as a product has throughout its history has really excelled at. And
would you say, Bob, that all of our customers, all radio stations consider the digital playout system to be mission critical?
Well, that's the truth, Chuck. Without the playout system in today's world, nothing goes on the air.
There's not a lot of turntables out there, are there?
Not anymore. No turntables, no cart machines, no tape decks.
Very few mics, as a matter of fact. All right.
Correct.
Well, let's press on. So let's talk about the new AudioVault. It may be that because the AudioVault has been out for so many years that some people might think there's been no changes, but that's not really true, is it?
No, it isn't, Chuck. You know, we're constantly working on the software. Most of it, or not most of it, but a lot of it can be behind the scenes, improving performance, adding features that you know, our partners, our broadcast partners have asked for. We're now on AudioVault 10, 10.42. It's fourth generation of our software. We're working, you know, very hard on our next version that's due out this spring, version 11. You know, we combine the latest in what's out there, and we're always talking with our partners to find out, you know, our partners, the broadcasters, you people who are on this call, on this webinar, to find out what it is that you need and what we can do to make your workflow easier and more reliable and more productive.
Perfect.
We'll go over some of these features now. You know, we consider ourselves the most flexible radio system, a radio storage, automation, and delivery system out there. Our user interfaces can be used in many different ways. We can work with a user interface for a single station, a single interface. We can have multiple interfaces controlling the same station. We've created a concept in our user interface design that we call gadgets. So every function on the user interface is a gadget that can be customized for the individual user, individual station user use, whether it's production, on air, editing or voice tracking. Colors, skins, if you will, can be customized and set up, you know, at the to serve the needs and the choices of each station. We also, we believe we're unique in this, is that we can have an individual user interface customized for each user and each function in a radio station. There can be a standard DJ user interface look with the gadgets that have been chosen for that station. And incidentally, when I talk gadgets, I mean the playout engine, you know, which we often refer to as DEX, the playout schedule, which every, you know, DJ or presenter needs to see to do their job. You know, other gadgets might be quick start buttons or hotkey buttons for elements that need to be fired, you know, uniquely outside of the music schedule. We have other gadgets for production use, CD ripper gadgets, cart builder gadgets to build a, you know, traditional broadcast cart out of audio cuts.
It's really a full suite.
It is a full suite of storage, playout, and automation functions. And of course, with the addition of some of our partners, we'll talk about a little later, we can provide a complete radio automation system, from the ingest of music to the scheduling of music, commercials, and the playout and automation, storage, playout, and automation of audio.
Excellent. Okay. Let's keep on looking. So I remember, I mean, I was with, full disclosure, I was with Broadcast Electronics back when AudioVault started up, and I remember the very first demo screens that Dave Evers put together, and as we were making it look like what it would be, it wasn't a functional system at that point, but I remember that the thing that made that automation system, the original AudioVault, the AV90, the AV100, different, was that we didn't process audio in the PC at that time. The only thing the PC was used for was power and the user interface, and all of the processing of audio was done on custom-built cards and hardware that we developed, because that was the only reliable way at the time. And that's the history of robustness that the AudioVault is born from.
Yeah, exactly, Chuck. And that's really the reason I chose AudioVault as the playout system for my company at the time, was I couldn't find another system that showed me that level of reliability and redundancy. And also, I wanted to do uncompressed audio. And in those days, with hard drive limitations, computer bus speed limitations, and LAN speed limitations, there was we started in those days using thin net Ethernet, not even not even 10 base T. It's 1 megabit internet. Basically, it was slower than what we have for our broadband today. So having the unique capability that AudioVault offered in AV100 with their proprietary onboard processing and storage of audio, allowed me to do what I needed to do and keep the quality up for the station. Today we've really are so far advanced from where we were there. We've separated the user interface from our playout engine so that the playout engine can run in a master control room separate from the user interface. We can have multiple user interfaces, as I mentioned earlier, so that a newsroom, for example, can be controlling the same schedule that the on-air person is, or a two-person morning show can have, or a two-person shift can have the board operator have the same screen as the host. We've also developed a system of redundant playout engines that have their schedules synchronized through a SQL database, which assures that if the main engine fails, the backup engine seamlessly takes over from the main. We have various file storage options, whether it's locally on the engine, on the PC that the engine is playing on, whether it's separate audio file servers. We can have two separate file servers that operate in a read-forward mode. So if you're playing a cut off one, if an engine is playing a cut off one file server and that file server fails or has to be rebooted for some reason, it seamlessly fails over to the audio file that's playing on the second file server, without any action by a user or an engineer, or without a listener being able to tell something has happened. Our NF server system is an intelligent file transfer and synchronization system that allows you to synchronize your main backup storage areas or any audio files in a between PCs, inside a building, between stations, or over a wide area network enterprise.
That's excellent. Okay, let's talk about its expandability.
Yeah, we can provide a system for any radio station, whether it's an internet radio station, as we used to say, people working in their garage, playing out for, with a single workstation configuration, single station, single workstation. We can move up to a station that has anything, from 2 rooms to 22 rooms to 122 rooms. It's whatever we can fit the needs of whatever the broadcaster want. We have, there are many broadcasters today who have multiple stations in the same location, and our system is expandable to that point. We also, through modern broadband internet connectivity and wide area networks, we can do multiple stations in multiple cities, in multiple studios, in basically any configuration that our partners, our customers, our broadcasters would like to use. If
you can conceive it, we can install it, huh?
That's correct.
That's great. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so satellite automation is a thing these days, and it's always been a thing. It's been a thing for years, but it's grown with the AudioVault.
Yeah, in the old days, I mean, we've always had a very reliable satellite automation product. However, its configuration was, basically required an engineer or a software coder. The configuration was done in INI files, in INI files, and text files. And responding to the input from our customers over the years, we've developed a user interface based, a GUI based configuration for it that replaces the old AV-SAT. It allows full control, as I said, through a GUI gadget, and that gadget is yet another tool that is added to our basic use that can be incorporated into our basic user interface. I mean, obviously you wouldn't necessarily have all the functions in the on-air studio, but for the engineer to configure a satellite network takes minutes instead of hours. We have visual clock building capability for satellite scheduling, and a number of other tools to make the transition between satellite automation and other programming the radio station might have, absolutely seamless and user-friendly for the operator and the engineer at a radio station.
Excellent. Talk about perfect timing. Now, I got to admit, Bob, when I started in radio, back timing and getting things to fit in an hour right on time would hit the network news was an art form. And it seems like I was born too early.
Well, in a certain way, radio, when in the old days and when we started, Chuck, radio was a lot more precise, but by necessity, because there were no computers.
Yep.
There was a master clock, so the audio, a 60-second piece of audio was always 60 seconds. A 30-second piece of audio was 30 seconds. The top of the hour, you had to hit that top of the hour if you wanted your CBS News or your ABC or NBC News feed to come on.
In case it was mutual.
That's right. The right way, the wrong way, and the mutual way.
Yeah.
But we had to be the automation system in those days because we did not have those tools. But what perfect timing, and then we moved into satellite automation where we were given windows by networks like Mutual or the others that I discussed,
right,
where they're giving us a local avail of 2 minutes or 4 minutes. And when they said 2 minutes, they meant 2 minutes.
That's right.
And our production departments, as the years went by, got less and less precise with what meant 2 minutes. So what we've tried to do here is we've tried to answer using technology that problem is how do you make sure that if you've got a 2 minute window that you're filling that 2 minutes without going under and creating an uncomfortable gap in audio programming or going over and having your commercial or other local avail content overwritten. And we called it perfect timing. Mm-hmm. We can apply this in a spot break, in a music sweep, in an hour, and we set what it actually does is it does a pitch shift of the audio. It speeds it up or slows it down, whatever's necessary, within some predefined parameters that we have determined will not affect the audio. No chipmunks here.
Right.
No chipmunks or no slow people talking.
Yeah, sure.
So we've tried to answer this with technology. And with perfect timing, we've also added, so perfect timing squeezes or stretches to fit the duration that's been defined in the schedule. Excuse me. We also, perfect timing can also actuate autofill rules if the predetermined parameters are exceeded. For example, if there's only 1 minute of audio scheduled in a 2 minute break, well, obviously we can't schedule 1 minute into 2 minutes, stretch 1 minute into 2 minutes.
Right.
But what we can do is we can go out and fill that with another cut. And if that other cut isn't exactly right, we'll squeeze or stretch that break. So, perfect timing is not only squeeze stretch. It's inserting elements that will fill that stuff. We also can autofill from our scheduling partners, from our music scheduling partner, Music Master, or our traffic scheduling partner, VitalSoft. We can use their scheduling rules to fill a gap that might be needed.
That's really remarkable. I really was born too early,
Yeah,
I think so. There's none of this stuff existed before. That's awesome. So let's talk about how we integrate with music scheduling and traffic and billing.
Well, when automation systems, when automation systems came into being, we basically were just sending them a text file. and those were the schedules that they got, that we aired. And if we wanted to reconcile that audio, for example, if you're scheduling music and you're trying to meet rules to follow some fairly strict rotation parameters that your consultant and your program director and your music directors have set to make sure the music rotation is doing everything it can to attract listeners and generate ratings.
Mm-hmm.
So in the old days, what you had to do was manually, if songs are changed by a DJ or songs that are scheduled don't play for whatever reason, because you always overschedule, because you always have to have a little more audio scheduled than you have in your hour. So if something is changed or bumped, you need to tell the music system that that's happened. So the next day when a log is generated, that it takes into account that song has not played and puts it back into rotation where it belongs. Same with traffic. If a commercial doesn't play, you need to know that, because that's money. Now, in the commercials, you don't necessarily put that back in, because commercials might have to play in the same hour and same day.
Right.
But you need to know immediately. So in the old days, we went back in manually, told the systems what happened. Then we started sending, systems like AudioVault started creating reconciliation functions where we could take a text file from AudioVault and send it back to the music scheduling system or the traffic and billing systems.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we've done is we've created real-time integration, real-time reconciliation, where as something is played in AudioVault, the traffic and the music scheduling system knows immediately. And in fact, in AudioVault, if you make a change in AudioVault and you're a Music Master customer and using Music Master for scheduling, if you swap audio or move audio inside AudioVault, you'll see the result right in Music Master schedule. Now, obviously, a DJ is not looking at Music Master,
right?
But it's instant real-time reconciliation.
Okay.
Yeah. We also, as part of this, we also allow, if a radio station is allowing a DJ the flexibility to insert audio or do replacements, we have a function where you right-click the screen or right-click the song on the screen that you want to replace. We'll go into Music Master and pull out a replacement song that meet the rotation rules that your music director has set.
That's great.
So it's a long way from when we started. We can also autofill songs and songs from Music Master or breaks from VitalSoft, as we talked about in Perfect Timing.
Going back in time, the program director took a crayon and wrote on the LPs to keep you from playing certain songs.
Absolutely, or tape them off.
Yeah.
Off certain songs. And scheduling was, when I started in radio in the 70s, scheduling was done on index cards.
Oh yeah.
And the music director would put the index songs referring to the cuts that needed to be played. You would have a red, a green, a blue, or whatever the categories were. You pulled the song the song that was at the top of the stack is what you played.
Mm-hmm.
Then you put your song in the back, and that's how rotation was done.
Wow. How far we've come, huh?
Yeah. And the last part of integration is that we synchronize now our inventory database between our scheduling partners and AudioVault. So if your music director adds a piece of music in AudioVault, a piece of music in Music Master, or if your traffic director adds a commercial into VitalSoft, that inventory cut will be created in AudioVault and be ready for ingest by your production director at the radio station. And conversely, if you insert a piece of audio into AudioVault, that audio will be added to the inventory of Music Master or VitalSoft. So we've really made this a seamless integrated suite of products.
Excellent. Talk about FlexWeb.
Well, FlexWeb is our most current offering in the AudioVault suite. We've realized that there is a need today for there is a need today to there is an anywhere, anytime need in our broadcasting business. Not everything is done from your location. And also, as we talked about, the kind of customers that we have, all of our customers are not just single station customers anymore. Many of our customers have multiple stations. They want to schedule New York from Los Angeles, Chicago from Detroit. So we've come up or they may be working from home or voice tracking from home.
Sure.
So we've come up with a browser-based system called FlexWeb. This can be run on so we're not tied to a software app to operate and control AudioVault anymore. The initial release of FlexWeb was more geared to remote voice tracking, so that you can track a radio station, you track a shift on a radio station without having to be connected by LAN or WAN into that playout system. You can browser into a gateway server at a given station. That gateway server will provide you with access to the audio assets and the schedule assets. You can insert a voice track or fill a pre-inserted voice track. So that's where we started with FlexWeb. Basically, the idea was to give, the idea behind FlexWeb was to give full system control from anywhere at any time.
In other words, if you can do it in your desk at the station, you can do it from home.
Right. And we also wanted to move away from proprietary software apps and move into something that everybody has on every computer. Everybody has a browser.
Yep.
And whether it's Internet Explorer or today Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, everybody has a browser. And it also means that we're not locked into running our software on a PC. It can be run on a tablet, with any OS, a Chrome device,
yep.
An Apple iOS device.
Excellent.
One of the other parts that now in the version of FlexWeb that we're in the final phases of developing now, we're moving our old AV Scheduler app into that, into FlexWeb. So if you think of FlexWeb as a user interface, the scheduler now becomes a gadget in the user interface. Mm-hmm. Also, the FlexWeb allows the FlexWeb user interface allows multi-station control,
okay.
Which is important to a lot of our users.
Absolutely. And let's talk about the cloud. Now, here's my favorite phrase here. There is no such thing as a cloud. It's somebody else's computer.
That's right. And really what a cloud is, it's a computer that is outside of your local area network. Mm-hmm. And it could be your own cloud. It could be your own computer. It could be at your station in a DMZ region outside your local area network on the WAN side. It could be a computer located at your corporate data center. It could be in a commercial data storage facility like Microsoft Azure.
Sure.
And what we have done, and a lot of this is we've been thinking about this and talking about this for a long time, but the actual development for this is based on the needs of the customer for this large customer and large order that we've just received. What they want is the ability. They don't want to even know the cloud is there, but they want to insert a piece of audio in New York, and they want that piece of audio to be available in Rome. They want to insert a piece of audio in Moscow, and they want that piece of audio to be available in Johannesburg. So they don't want to know that it's the cloud, but at the same time, they want rock solid security. Nothing is impenetrable, as we know. It all depends on your password, but we have provided really the most modern kind of security that's available, full requiring long passwords, multiple, special characters, two-factor authentication. And our cloud service, our cloud capability will work on a commercial product like Microsoft Azure, but also on your own cloud. If your organization has some sort of cloud-based storage, we can work with that as well.
Sure.
We also do what we call AudioVault, where it allows our advanced file synchronization utility NS server to operate through the cloud. So the same file synchronization capability that's available inside your facility and between your audio storage methods and your radio station is now available through the cloud throughout your enterprise. And we're really very excited about that.
Right.
And we think that this is the wave of the future. I mean, we're working on other cloud-based options, working on the ability to actually play audio out of the cloud, in an emergency. But even, there will be a time in the not so distant future where the reliability of the cloud will be to the point that we may have customers who are going to move their entire playout to the cloud, and we
Sure.
need to be prepared for that when it happens.
That's great. Okay, let's talk about enterprise automation. There's another buzzword.
Yeah, well, I've talked a little bit about that. Enterprise automation is the ability to schedule, to do all functions that are available in a single radio station or in a radio network, and distribute these functions throughout an enterprise as needed. That's what I was saying earlier, the ability to either enter a file in Moscow, have it appear in Johannesburg, or even go any further. If I have a radio station that's in New York and something happens to that New York facility, there's a terrorist attack or a fire, I could have my facility in Philadelphia pick up that scheduling, not pick up, but that scheduling would be instantly in real time available to that station in Philadelphia. And assuming that you've set up, audio and audio routing redundancy and capability for it, that station could take over and do what needs to be done. And even in a non-emergency environment, your workflow, where we're going in broadcasting today is we're doing more and more with less and less people. So we have customers, and there will be more instances of this in the future, where they may want to be scheduling multiple cities from a single location, or voice tracking multiple cities from a single location, or scheduling one from another, and those needs might change from a day-to-day and week-to-week basis. So that is what enterprise radio is about. It's about unlimited stations and locations. It's about controlling everything from a single browser-based interface like FlexWeb. It's about scheduling music and traffic from any location, and it's about storage that is seamless and can be replicated around the enterprise without really user intervention or involvement. And also there's for traditional radio networks that provide a program, but that have affiliates that may allow affiliates to do their own morning shows or evening shows. We have the capability to do breakaway sections where that local station could be operating their own schedule.
Yep.
And that is what we call enterprise automation.
That's
and
great.
And by nature, it is advanced.
You bet. Okay, well, let's give it a quick spin. We don't have a lot of time, but we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to try to switch this so that we're seeing your screen, Bob, and you can then show us an AudioVault. Maybe
what we're going to do is we're going to show you some FlexWeb.
Okay.
Show you what FlexWeb is.
All right.
And I think I should be up now.
Yeah, I see you.
And what we're seeing here is we're in our test lab at BE. Because some of this stuff is still, being finalized, and you can see that. Let me get rid of this. You can see that I'm on a Chrome browser. This isn't an app at all. And what we're seeing on the screen is a playing schedule. I'm going to have to refresh that playing schedule now. Bear with me 1 second. And those of you who are familiar with AudioVault will recognize the calendar here. This formerly was in our AV Scheduler app.
Sure.
But this is what I talked about earlier. We've moved this into our browser-based interface, and this is the way that music was ingested. Now, of course, the functions I'm about to show you can be automated, but you select a day. Created in this way. This is set up for test. You create a stock day. There are other methods to do this, and then you would import music. This music would have come out of a scheduling system. And of course, all this stuff would normally be automated in a seamless way, but to show you what happens here, the music is being imported. The music is now imported. You can see that these breaks are full of elements. Hang on, let me just drag over for a section. You can see that they're now filled.
Yep.
We can log check. It's saying group too long. We can click on the log check, and it's right there. It tells you what these functions are. This could also be emailed to you in time, so that you don't have to interface with it. But for the purposes of this, I wanted to show you all the functions.
Sure.
All of the features that used to be in AV Scheduler are available in this user interface. Calendar, this is the day that I just created. And then we go back and look at the calendar. You can see that the day is created.
Yep.
And then the day would be exported to the automation. Again, normally an automated function, but I'm just going through it manually here, being exported. And then you can see on the calendar, you can see that the day has been exported.
Sure. Show us all the stuff under the navigation bar at the left-hand side.
Yeah, the navigation bar this is just like on our Flex UI. These are our navigation. These are our gadgets that have been created for this, in this case, for this testing. We have the schedule gadget, which is the same gadget that we have on our existing Flex UI app, but you can see we've added a little bit different functionality. We're showing the percentage of the playout, where we are on the playout, right in the status bar. That's a new feature. Other gadgets are the old quick start or hotkey buttons. And here I was showing you earlier the days, formats, inventory. Inventory, of course, are the audio that's in the system. We can, of course, just drag audio into a schedule at any time in our browser-based interface, just like we do in our regular interface. And we also have a browser-based schedule gadget. I think this is just stuck now, but that's okay. But all the same functions and control that we have in our app UI are available here, and it's in a browser way. So if this were my radio station, and my radio station had the gateway server installed, and that gateway server was accessible from my house, I could be accessing this directly without having to go this back doorway into our test lab to show this to you folks.
That's excellent. Thank you.
So
Thank you for that.
We're really excited about this. We believe this is the future of radio automation, and we're embracing it, and I hope our customers will too.
And we're basing our development on what our customers have told us they need.
Exactly.
All righty. Well, let me take back control here and show the screen we've been using. And now, basically, we'll see if anybody's asked any questions. We'll bring those up here. And yes, indeed. So there's a question from a friend, Marco. Can other music and traffic schedulers be used with AudioVault?
Absolutely. We'll accept output from any commercially available, well, not from any music scheduler program that will put their output to a text file.
Okay.
We do not do real-time integration with every
Sure.
music traffic scheduling system, but we will accept anyone. Yes.
That's very good. All right. So I believe we are at the end. I wanted to. You used a phrase earlier about how everybody's doing more with less, and I remember a program director years back who said, "I've been doing so much for so long with so little that now I can do anything with nothing in no time." And maybe that's what the AudioVault is providing, is the ability to be far more effective and efficient, and make the station more reliable and more efficient. We've come an awful long way from cart machines and crayon on LPs, but it's still radio.
Yeah. Yep. That's the business that we're in, and the business that our partners are in.
That's
and,
right.
Both of us are in the 40 plus years in this business, and I never wanted to do anything else.
Me either.
So.
My first year in radio was 1973. Bob, thank you so much for this walk down memory lane and the view of the future of where we're going with the AudioVault. And I hope we've helped people understand that the AudioVault is a very active product, and it's in a very exciting time in its development, even after so many decades.
Yeah. Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks very much, Bob. Thanks to everybody for being with us. So for Bob Demuth and the rest of the LNS group, I'm Chuck Kelly. Thanking you very much. Bye-bye for now.